ourselves started here. There's pizza back there. You can meander back and get some. We're going to start our speakers and our presentation here today. So we kind of formed a committee, and we're calling ourselves the LCU Workshop Committee. And we're proud to sponsor 2 campers to attend Green Mountain Conservation Camps this summer. This is an opportunity for selected campers to enjoy hands-on wildlife education and acquire diverse outdoor skills. The Fish and Wildlife Department will select the campers based on economic needs. The funds generated from these workshops will send these kids to camp. And to tell you guys more about it, we have Carolyn Blake from Green Mountain Conservation Camp, coordinator for Vermont Fish and Wildlife, and she's going to go first. So listen to what she's got to say.
All right, hi everybody. My name's Carolyn Blake. Like I said, I work for Vermont Fish and Wildlife. I'm their camp coordinator. Starting off, thank you so much. Just mentioned the $5 that you just paid to get here is sponsoring 2 to 3 kids which don't have the means to go to camp. And so my job was, hey, what the heck is this camp that we're having these kids go to? So I'm going to run through kind of the basics. I have about 10 minutes to tell you a little bit about it, why this program is so special. I've been with this program for 4 years. I originally started off as one of the directors on the ground level and then was hired as the camp coordinator. So I oversee the 2 summer camps. I do all the staff hiring. So we have 18 staff members, so I'll talk a little bit about that. We have volunteers that come in and help us. They're high schoolers. And then there's about 1,000 kids that come through our program each and every year. So think about in the state of Vermont, 1,000 kids. There's not very many youth in Vermont, so that's a pretty high number. And it's been around this is our 51st anniversary, so we celebrated our big 5-0 last year. So I'll share a little bit more. I don't know if the mic is working, but can everybody hear me at the very least? Can I?
Yep.
Okay, then I'm going to put the mic down. So we have 2 camp locations. One is up in Buck Lake, in a town called Woodbury in the Northeast Kingdom, or right in the corner of the Northeast Kingdom. And then our second one is Edward F. Kehoe, which is located in Castleton, Vermont. I love this building. It was just built last year, so that was the big 50th anniversary purchase, was we got a brand new education center put in at Buck Lake, and it was much needed and makes programming so much better because we used to have this very tiny dining hall where if it was raining or thunderstorming, we had 60-plus smelly, 12-year-old boys that would show up into a very small building, so this at least airs them out a little bit if we have to do some outside programming as well. So what's our audience? We allow 12 to 16-year-old boys and girls to come to our programs. They are separate weeks. So we have boys' weeks and we have girls' weeks. And we have 2 different types of programming. We have something called a basic week, which is for first-time campers. So these are ages 12 to 14. In order to come to our programs, you have to go through a basic week first. Then you can come back for a second summer and attend something called an advanced week, which again is for those campers ages 13 to 16. So what does our curriculum entail? The kids, their basic week are coming to get their hunter and bow hunter certificates, but that's not all. A lot of them, that's their main focus, but they don't realize that there's a summer camp mixed into it too. So we do canoeing, fishing, fly fishing. We're teaching them about natural resources. In order to be a good hunter or angler, you have to know, where should I set up my tree stands? Where are the good trees? Why should I set up my tree stand in this specific ravine? But we also don't want it to be just a hunting camp. Some people do take it as, oh, it's a conservation camp. It's only going to be about how to handle our fisheries and our wildlife. But that's not true. We want them to get the campfire experience. We want them to be learning about wetland ecology. So they get to go and play in the mud. And the next couple of pictures will teach you a little bit about what our camp does, because I added in some fun photos along the way. Because it's a summer camp. You can't go to summer camp and not be weird and have fun playing in the mud. But we're both taken at Buck Lake. We do a lot of fishing, or to the very best of our abilities. Getting the kids, we just want them to get a fish on the hook. Get them passionate about the upcoming events of their life and how they can take off with this. There's sometimes even a 6 a.m. morning fishing session. Sometimes the staff members play rock, paper, scissors to see who's going to get put on that 6 o'clock fishing class. But they love it. It's great. And it's always fun to see kids like this little one on the right. I took that picture 4 years ago, and that's one of my favorite camp photos of all time, because that was the first fish he ever caught. And I saw him at camp for 3 years after that. We love canoeing too, so in our basic week, we're just teaching them the basic skills, getting them out paddling on both lakes. So both of our camps are on big lakes, which is really fun to get them out. We chose to do canoes versus kayaks because we feel like canoe is a dying industry, so we want them to get out there. They can do some team building as well with 2 kids in 1 canoe. Sometimes it's the end of a friendship, sometimes it kindles a friendship, one or the other. Why not throw some fishing in once the kids have gotten a chance to kind of get their paddling around? We might throw them a fishing line, and hopefully they can catch a nice bass out on one of our lakes. Like I said, we love to play in the mud. Our left picture is our aquatic ecology class. So the first part is we give them nets saying, hey, let's go catch frogs, let's learn about the habitat. And towards the end, we just want them to jump in the mud and be get nitty gritty of what's happening. There's some really funny ones. You get these 12-year-old boys that just face belly flop right into it, and they just are dripping mud. And thankfully, I was never a cabin instructor where they had to come back into my cabin. Sorry for the other cabin instructors. The guy on the right, he is one of our junior counselors. We do a fur bearer management class, so they get to pet different types of furs. They get to learn about proper trapping techniques. Again, one of our really great classes. Lots of archery, so we teach them about 3D archery. We have them shooting at targets. And then what the kids look forward to the most out of the entire week, I would say, is our shooting. So we do shotguns, we do riflery, we do 22s. During our advanced weeks, they get to do muzzle loaders, 243s. All of our ranges, we recruit the help of our game wardens, so these kids get to actually meet department staff. Anywhere from fisheries every single week, they'll meet a fisheries or wildlife biologist, they'll meet a forester, and they'll also meet up to 2 game wardens, because we have a 22s on Tuesday, I like to say 22 Tuesday, and then on Thursdays we have our shotguns. So one of my favorite memories is, yes, boys and girls, they all like to shoot shotguns, but it's really cool when you have that 12-year-old little girl who the shotgun's bigger than her, and that game warden gets them, and they're really freaking out. They think they're going to dislocate their shoulder, and we just want them to pull the trigger, and you just see that smile on their face, so pure happiness, even if they completely botched it and didn't hit it. But that's what we're looking for, is just to get those kids, you can do this, you can push yourself and be happy. It's a camp. We have campfires, a lot of them, so we like to cook over the grill. We do s'mores. They do an overnight hike/camp night. They sleep in tents, or their first week we do a team bonding of, hey, there's 8 of you. You need to go build a tarp shelter. Again, that can make and or break friendships at camp. That's why we put it on Thursday nights, so they go home the next day. But really, it's one of my favorite things. We do a final fire. So during our advanced week, some of our junior counselors, they're high schoolers and they're graduating. And so we really make a big ceremony about them and all the work that they do. And we light a big bonfire, and it's a ton of fun. Our advanced weeks, like I mentioned, so if a camper chooses to come back for a second summer, they do something called Advanced Week. And it is never the same. That's one of my favorite things, and I think the staff love the most about it, is because the staff are required to come up with one piece of curriculum that they're really passionate about. So for example, I love astronomy, so I taught an astronomy class where I took 3 to 5 kids, whoever signed up to our shotgun field at 8 o'clock at night, and I've never seen more spectacular stars, and just got to kind of geek out on that. But it's really what the staff members are passionate about. But the kids get to choose one of 3 activities. They can do a waterfowl class, they can do our trappers course so they can get their trapping cards, or the third one that we're adding this year is advanced backpacking class. It's going to be a 1.5-day class, teaching them how to pack their packs, how to throw up a bear bag, where's a good spot to set up camp, etc. Because we want to give kids the opportunity who might not be into hunting and fishing, but just want to be passionate about the outdoors. Some really fun things we do is we invite guest speakers. So Warden, she still is up there with Magooch. They just won a really big award this past week, so I thought I'd throw in a photo. But he loves coming and having Magooch do demonstrations. We do something called Woodsman or Woodswoman. So on Fridays before the kids leave, they have a competition where they have 6 events. It can be anywhere from using a big saw and how fast they can work together as a team to cut the piece of wood. They have to burn a string with fire that they started, they're only allowed one match. If they have to use more than one match, it adds 10 seconds. There's quite a few other ones, but those are some of the fun ones. So, tuition and scholarships. For an individual camper to come to camp for 6 days, it costs $250. Now, I'm not saying that's by any means a small chunk of change, but if you think about summer camps these days, if you talk to anyone, you're talking about a couple $1,000s to go to camps. This involves food, room, board, they're getting their hunter certificates, but we're not just having them sit through a lecture presentation. Our hunter education staff teaches great curriculum, but sometimes that involves you going and listening to a person lecture for 8 hours. Put a 12-year-old kid in that, and that sounds like we try to throw in fun activities, so they only have an hour of shotguns and they're learning the hands-on material, but then they go and they do wetlands ecology, they go and do a campfire, and then we come back to the hunter education material as well. 50% of our campers are sponsors. The money that you guys are, again, donating this year is sponsoring kids who don't have the means to go. Our biggest sponsors do happen to be the Bear Hound Association, Vermont Trappers, Federation of Sportsmen, and then private sponsors. You all are private sponsors with the money. That means that we choose which kids, based on financial need, we take that kind of weight off your shoulders. So you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, what kid should I pick? We'll do the task of that. Summer staff. We have 18 staff split between 2 sites, so 9 staff members, a director at each, an assistant director. About 50% are Vermonters, but we do get people from all over the country, people from California. I've hired my full staff this year. We've got Minnesota, we've got a lot of people from Pennsylvania, New York, quite a few Vermonters this year. But they're silly, goofy. Majority of them are natural resource majors, somehow involved with kids. They might be environmental science, or these are like top-notch. It is a very competitive program. I interviewed at least 35 people over the phone, and that was just people that I interviewed, not only like turned away just because they weren't qualified. So the people get hired on are top-notch and really passionate about working with kids and teaching about natural resources. Our junior counselors, again, these are our high school volunteers. We have close to 100. Now, of course, we don't each invite 100 of them each and every week to camp. We have about 8 to 12 that show up on a weekly basis. They can do up to 3 weeks, but we could not run this program without them. How did they get chosen? Well, they were campers, and then they came back for an advanced week session, and then our staff members all sat down saying, all right, who is the most responsible, mature, a leader amongst the other people, and it has to be a unanimous decision by the 9 staff members saying, we want this person. They're really fun. I was their direct supervisor for 2 summers, and some of my favorite memories. I actually hired on 4 people this past year that I knew as a junior, like I was my first year, I was their direct supervisor, and to see them kind of 4 years later go from JC campers to junior counselors and now the paid staff is a really cool transition. This endowment fund, what is this? So we technically cannot solicit for donations as a Vermont Fish and Wildlife organization, but we created this endowment fund, so it's run by 3 board members. And what you can do is you can donate to this fund, and each and every year we are allowed to use the interest from that endowment fund to pay for materials that the camp needs. For example, I needed AEDs. If you don't know what those are, is if somebody goes into cardiac arrest, it's the shocking machine. And we realized that we really didn't have one at each of the camps, and at least Kehoe is a year-round organization, so we wanted to make sure that we were supplied, and so the endowment fund was able to pay for that this year, as well as a couple of new canoes. We don't want kids sinking in the middle of the lake. Or maybe we do, I don't know. Work weekends, if you want to get involved, we open up the camps 1 weekend each before the camps arrive. So in Kehoe, it's on the 13th and 14th. Buck Lakes, it's the 20th and 21st of May. We say, hey, we'll give you free room and board if you're willing to come donate an hour, a weekend, whatever it may be, to help clean, paint. If you're a carpenter, we're like, hey, we need this, this cabin door fixed. We have camp staff who can attempt to do it, and we will do our very best. But if somebody has carpentry skills, we open it up to the public saying, we need your help, we'd love to have you. It's a great fun family event. And like I said, can't beat free room and board for a weekend of hanging out at a summer camp. All right, so this is my last slide. So how can you help? The first thing is, I'm not going to delve into the politicalness, but we have to purchase some land down at Kehoe. It's 311 acres. which costs about $230,000. It's a big chunk of land, but the problem is Kehoe on Bombazine is in this beautiful location, but the land surrounding the camp is up for sale. And so if we can't purchase this land, there's a chance that in 20 years that'll be completely turned into housing developments and we lose the camp aspect of it. So due to federal funding, we have less this upcoming fiscal year, but we really need to purchase this land. So if you have any interest or have any organizations, we're asking for donations. $230,000 is a big chunk of money, not gonna lie. But if you do have any interest, all you do is you write a donation to GMCC, and in the memo you just say to our Camp Land Acquisition Fund. I can give way more information about that, but again, GMCC, and you just put for land at Kehoe or Camp Land Acquisition. You can be a sponsor. You're already doing that, so thank you for all that you do. Volunteer at one of our work weekends. I run those at each of the camps, so you'd be in contact with me. Invite your family, friends, relatives, whoever it may be. And then last but not least, I'm putting a poll out there. We really want girls to come to camps. Our basic weeks do have a pretty fair number of girls that come to camp. But the problem is we have a really tough time recruiting them to come back for a second summer. So if you know somebody ages 12 to 16 who has already been to camp for one summer, and you're like, hey, you should get some of your friends to come on back, we're really putting the poll, because I don't want, right now we do an advanced week for girls, one at each camp. We added that a couple of years ago because there used to be just one for the entire summer, and we're like, no, we really want one at each camp to get those numbers up, and we still haven't been hitting the numbers that we want to, so there's a push to kind of turn it back into a boys' week to get those numbers up and get money back to the camp, but I really want to push for that girls' week and getting young women empowered about the outdoors as well. So that is the end of my presentation. Hopefully you learned a little about the camps and what we do. I love it. Hopefully you can tell that I'm pretty passionate about this program and what we do, but it comes with people like you two who teach the next generation, and hopefully you can teach some people how to fish and hunt and get them coming to the camp as well. Thank you so much.